Yeah. Thank you for the recording here. Okay, what are we up to? Uh I'm gonna review
Amar
them a
Yehuda.
Shmuel,
Yeah, Amar
right?
Yehuda, Amar Shmuel. Two dots, right?
Yeah. No, not two dots. Two
Oh, it's
dots.
before
You have
that.
two dots?
No,
It
it's
could be you
before
have
that.
two dots. Before that. You have
No, I
the
don't. I
one,
don't. I
two,
don't.
three, 5 lines down. 5 lines down from the top. 5 lines down from the top. Yeah.
Where? Where?
I'm Nun Testament Aleph.
So Yaakov, 2 nights ago, just a quick story. 2 nights ago, I parked myself by the Kaisel after Marv, and I wanted to do the daf. So I went inside and I saw two Alti and they were sitting and they were learning the daf. So I said, you know what? Let me ask them if I could sit with them and just sit down with them and listen. And naive
Yeah.
that I was, after 10, 15 minutes, I realized they're learning Gemara, Rashi, Taisus, Mefarshim. They're learning about Ian. I, I was stuck there for an hour and a half because I felt guilty leaving.
But they finished the daf in that hour and a half?
No, they didn't finish it.
Very good. But that's a good life experience.
It definitely was
What language are they learning it in?
Yiddish.
Yiddish. Geschmack. That's Geschmack. Good for
You know
you.
the two old
You
types that
repeat
their
it?
jackets are hanging over the front of the stand. You know the type?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Gewaldig. Good for you. Okay, so let's see. Amar Review Amar Shmuel.
This must be a little bit of a letdown then.
What this?
This is a little bit of a letdown
Yeah, a
from
little
that
bit.
experience.
Yeah, you don't say, huh? Okay, so Amar Review Amar Shmuel. Tzinon makaleach mayim b'chotzer chavera. So if you have a pipe that's flowing into the chotzer of his friend, right? We've been discussing leaders and gutters, where you have your water washing out into somebody else's property. Uba bal hagag l'saismai, and comes along the owner of the roof to close it up. He decides he doesn't want his water to go to, what's the word I'm looking for? To drain out into his neighbor. So now we could turn the tables. Till now we've been discussing somebody draining his water into somebody else's field. Is that right or not? And now the guy decides he's going to stop it. And now the guy in the chutzner who was benefiting from all this water says, no, I don't want you to do it. He can stop him. The same way that you were kinda, it's an interesting lashon. You were kinda, I mean, he wasn't kinda anything. He just like he's getting the rights to let his water drain into my yard. The mishtaba maya to throw water out there. The dynamic kani maya dagrach. I was kind of the rain that's on your roof that drains into my property. So therefore, you can't stop. Meaning that here, mamash, the tables are turned. That is Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel. But now we see it's actually machlokes. Itmar Rabbi Yishai Amar Ma'akev, Rav Chama Amar Eni Ma'akev. Rabbi Yishai says he could do this, and Rav Chama says he can't do this. Also, Shaila Rabisa, they went and they asked Rabisa. Amar Lahu Ma'akev. He said it is Ma'akev. Right? Kari Rami. So that now we need to know the history here for the next line of the Gemara. So the Rashbam says, Aviv shel Rav Chama, v'zikne shel Rabbi Yishai. So they went to ask, because Rabbi Yishai said it's Ma'akev, they went to ask Rabisa, who was Rav Chama's father and the grandfather of Rabbi Yishai. So we have here 3 generations. I mean, you had Rabbi Yishai and Rav Chama arguing with each other, right? Meaning father and son were arguing with each other. And then they went to the Zayda to answer it. Yeah, that's the chronological order, if that's the right word. I'm not sure that's the right word. Either way, Karele Rami Bar Chama, and now Rami Bar Chama said, a string that has three ply string is not going to, it's going to be very strong and it's not going to break. That's 3 generations. So Mamela, that's it. You got it. Right? Which Taisva says, like, why them 3? This because there's many that they had father son and grandson that were Talmidei Chachamim. So Taisus says, the second Taisus down, Taisus says, because here we're talking about they all saw each other, right? They all saw each other. So Mamela, since they saw each other, so that's stronger. Then Taisus says another interesting thing. It comes out that Rabbi Ishia is the son. So why is the Gemara quoting the son before the father? It says Rabbi Ishia Amar, and then it says Rav Chama. Right? Why? Shouldn't the father be quoted first?
Tell me he's a bigger Talmud Chacham, even though
Yeah. That's what Taisus says. He's a bigger Talmud Chacham, which is interesting. You know, the famous Maram Rottenberg, when he became, we did this, I think, when we learned good Kibbutz of Kiddushin, maybe. We discussed it, I think. The Maram Rottenberg, once he became Chashuv, became a whole diyun, whether the father, he became more Chashuv than his father. So there's a whole diyun, who has to be Mechaber who. So from then on, they didn't see each other. So they're not to have this issue. I don't know the pshat, and it's brought in Shulchan Aruch. It's brought in Shulchan Aruch, and the Taz and the Shach bring it. I have no idea what the pshat in that is, right?
So I'm saying he wasn't Mekayim Kibbutz either.
I'm correct. He was. I guess he was willing to sacrifice the covered. He was willing to sacrifice the covered instead of being over on the Yira, maybe. Maybe. I don't know. But anyway, it's an interesting thing. So that's what Taisus says. But it's interesting. This is a third party. That's between them, father and son. But here the Gemara is saying, no, the Gemara, we're going to go with the more chashuv one. If we're going to quote the more chashuv one first, even if he's the son. That's mochach from the Taisus. Anyways, okay, bye. Back in Gemara. So Sulam ha-mitzri ein lo chazaka. We said a mitzri ladder that has no chazaka. What's it, mitzri ladder? Hekidami sulam ha-mitzri, amri d'Rav kol she'en lo arba chavakim. If it doesn't have 4 rungs, meaning it's a small ladder, it's like a step ladder. So that ladder, you see somebody open a ladder and you have 2 partners that own a property. One partner leaves a ladder out in the yard. So you're not thinking, okay, that's permanent. So you have no reason to tell him anything. But if he puts a big, huge ladder that very rarely gets moved, then you're going to make a machans and say, what are you doing?
That's it, Yaakov, this happened in the stadium, not last night, the night before. So there's one guy, his name is Drew. He's like the foreman. He's telling everybody he tells the bosses what to do, and then they tell all the workers, right, in the Cyclone Stadium. That night, somebody said, my fellow Evan that I work with, he says, that's Drew's boss. This guy, he says, you never see him, something going on. So Taka, I saw he was walking by a big stand with Drew, and he told him, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. He came over to me and told me something is wrong. And 10 minutes later, you saw this fellow Drew carrying a ladder. And I said, that guy Taka is Drew's boss. There's no having a Drew would ever carry a ladder from wherever you got the mamish the case with the ladder. That's what he is doing.
Yeah, but okay, so that's what it's saying. So if he had permission, then that's the thing. If you have permission, then nobody's gonna think twice, meaning it's the norm, right? But if not, then it's a problem. So we're saying, so then so the mitzri ladders doesn't have 4 rungs. Fine. Chaloina mitzri ein la chazaka. So chaloina mitzri, the window, a mitzri window doesn't have a chazaka. Now the Mishnah then says what a chaloina mitzri is if you can't stick your head in it. So the question is, how come the Mishnah describes what the chaloina mitzri was, and it doesn't describe the sulam mitzri? So the Gemara asks, "Mashno gabi sulam delay mefarish, or mashno gabi chaloin de mefarish?" The Gemara answers, "If fluge Rabbi Yehuda b'seifa, because in the Seifa Rabbi Yehuda disagrees." Right? Rabbi Yehuda in the Seifa says that if there's a molding around the window, then it would have a chazak because that looks permanent. Right? So since he disagrees, which I didn't understand it as a disagreement, but that doesn't mean anything. I thought maybe he's being Moisif, but the Gemara is clearly there's a disagreement. So since he disagrees, therefore the Mishnah itself has to describe what he's disagreeing about. But by the latter, there's no disagreement. Fine. Then the Gemara says, Amar Rab Zera, Lamata Midalar Amas, Yeshli Chazaka, V'yachal Limchos. As we've been saying, Yeshli Chazaka, and you're able to make a macha go hand in hand. If you're allowed to make a chazaka, that means that it's an abnormal thing to do in a yard. So therefore, the neighbor or your partner, whichever the situation is, can make a macha. Right? If you cannot make a chazaka, then he can't make a macha because that's a normal use. So again, let's say somebody makes a window less than 4 amas, and now he just made a window that he could be a peeping tom into his friend's yard. So we don't allow that. He's allowed to make a amas. If it's the windows above 4 amas, ain't like chazak. He's no chazak. And he cannot make a macha. Even above 4 amas, he's no chazaka, and he's out. He can make a macha. Okay, so what's the machlokes? So essentially, the machlokes is there's a window less than 4 amas from the ground. Let's say that the whole machlokes is whether we say that we could force somebody to not be like Sodom. Meaning, why should the neighbor care if the guy makes a window above 4 amas? You can't. 4 amas is 6 feet, let's say, right? Let's go 6 feet closer to 8 feet according to Chazon Ish. Nobody's being a peeping tom into your yard if he makes a window above 4 amas. Why don't you let your neighbor have the window? He's not looking out. Again, we're not talking about a second floor window. We're talking about you have a 1-story house, and the guy wants to make a window to get some light into his house. Why can't you let him do it? It's above, right? So the Gemara's thing, that's the machlokes. Whether the guy could just say, I don't want to do it because I just don't want to do it. Right? So let me govern me this time. Can we give the Marsa of Kaifin and Marsa of Ein Kaifin? When it says like the Kuli Alma Kaifin, everybody holds Kaifin, meaning if somebody is being a jerk, even though he might be within his halachic rights, we tell him that we force him not to. Which seems to be a pasha the machlokes, because maybe you're gonna put a sharshifa as like a stool, right? How do I know? The guy says, I want to have my privacy in my backyard. I don't have a pool in my backyard, right? And you're saying you want to put a window above 4 amas so you can't see into my yard. Anyways, yeah, but you may decide, there's a good barbecue going, so you want to take a peek, see what's going on, what they're serving. So you'll take a chair and you put it up to the window and you'll stand on the chair and look at me, right? So that's the machlokes, whether we're chayshid that where somebody may do that. So that's why they have a machlokes above 4 amas. Fine. Who does look at the Rav Ami? Somebody came in front of Rav Ami. Shadri look at the Rav Abba Bar Mamal, and they sent him to how does it go again? He came in front of Rav Ami for a psak. Shadri look at the Rav Abba Bar Mamal. He sent him to Rav Abba Bar Mamal. Amalei, and he said, Avid like Rav Eloi, do like Rav Eloi. And you cannot make a window, right? Rabbi Eloi is the one that says even above 4 amas, you're not allowed to make a window. Amar Shmuel, but then so meaning that he's paskening that you're not allowed to. You're not allowed to make a window even above 4 amas. And Amar Shmuel, Ula Oira, Afilu Kolshu, but if he's doing it just for light, then even if it's just a Kolshu, Yeshli Chazaka, then he has a Chazaka. Right? Meaning, when you see somebody I don't know what else you're doing a window for other than letting in light. But let's say somebody clearly is making a window in order to let in light, and it seems to be permanent. So if the neighbor didn't want that window there, he should have said something. He didn't say something, so therefore he's out, and he loses if he didn't make the chazah, if he didn't make the macha, right? I don't know what a window that lets in light looks like. Right? I don't know, maybe it's a very small hole and then they expand it like it's a mikdash. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, okay, next mission. Haziz. So Haziz is like And now you touch a ziz. A ziz is it's like a hook, really. It's something sticking out of something that sticks out of the wall.
Not a beam.
Atefa. It's a beam. I don't know if it has to be a beam. I guess that would probably be the easiest thing, right?
I mean, that's the way Torah Scroll teaches it, but so I'm not, if you're struggling for a word, so that's what they say. So
We touched it as beam last time. Maybe.
Yeah. I'm saying that would be I saw ziz. We've had ziz and sukkah.
It's both. It's when they put the beams and they crosshatch them like this. So the bit that sticks out is the ziz.
Are you talking about like the old log cabins?
Right. That's what it is. It's the ziz.
Very good. I didn't think of it like that. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. So haziz at tefach. So if it's up to a tefach sticking out, yeshe chazaka. He has a chazaka. Like we said, if the neighbor didn't complain that he has this beam or whatever sticking out into his yard, so then he's gonna have a chazaka on Tamid and as we know, it goes hand in hand. If there's a chazaka, then the neighbor could also complain. But if it's less than a tefach, ain't like chazaka, there's no chazaka. Ve'ain yachalimchos, and he cannot make a macha. I don't know. The Gemara doesn't ask why you need to go both ways on this. L'chari, you can learn that out from the first line of the Mishnah. You don't need the positive and the negative, right? Okay, so the Gemara Amar Rav Asi, Amar Rav Mani, V'amila Amar Rav Yaakov, Amar Rav Mani, Hichzik b'tefach. If somebody makes a chazaka in the tefach, Hichzik b'dalid, then he really makes a chazaka dalid tefach. Right, what does that mean? Like what you Gemara asked, my comment, what does that mean? You made a chazaka for the tefach, you get 4 tefach. Was it buy one get 3 free? Right, doesn't make sense. So Amar Abai Hachikam means hichzik roichav tefach. You made a chazaka with the beam being a tefach wide, the meshech arba, but it's 4 tefachim long. Then hichzik beroichav arba. Then he can widen that beam to 4 tefachim. Meaning, if the beam was sticking out 4 tefachim and the width is 1 tefach, then he could do both. Then he gets both. He could square it off basically. Okay. Then the Gemara says in the Seifa, if it's less than a tefach, there's no chazaka, because nobody's going to complain about a beam sticking out less than a tefach, and he can't make a macha either. This is only talking about the roof. The guy in let's say it's a 2-story house, so it's the guy in the roof cannot make a macha against the guy using this beam, the guy in the yard. But the balachotzer can make a macha that he doesn't want anything sticking out that belongs to the balagag. Right? Now, because why? Because what's going to happen is he's going to maybe, I don't know if it means he's going to stand on this beam. He's going to somehow use this beam to peek into the yard. I don't know exactly how, but maybe he'll stand on it. He'll balance himself on it. Mashma from the next Gemara that's not the case. Even a Baal Chotzer, even the Baal Chotzer, the Baal Gag cannot make a macha. Okay, what's the pshat? So Lemim has agreed they're having a machlokes whether there's such a thing. Whether is there damage by just looking at things? The Marsavar Shmei Hezek, the one who says that he can make the bottom floor guy can make a macha on the top floor guy because he doesn't want him to be looking in his yard, holds it Shmei Hezek. But Marsavar La Shmei Hezek, and the other sheet that says it's not Shmei Hezek. So Gemara says like the Kuli Amba Shmei Hezek. Everybody holds that it is Hezek. V'shani Hocha Domer Lei. The Tashvisha Lei Chazik. What's the problem?
What exactly does it mean that it is or it isn't Shmei Hezek?
No, the damage is a damage. Question is enough damage to stop somebody? Meaning, do we say that a guy watching you is a problem? Right?
Well, okay. Guys watching your daughters in the pool swimming. Is that a hezek?
Well, there could be a priestess issue, but maybe yeah, that's what they're having a machlokes. Whether is that considered damage or not?
Is it the problem? Did the girls make a problem, or did the neighbor, the leering neighbor, make a problem?
He may make a problem.
Well, there's another issue also in the Zikin. If Shmei has it, well, forget Shmei has it. A hezek usually is touched up for something that has a monetary value. It's very hard to affix a monetary value to hezek re'iyah. So while it is a damage, it's damaging to the person who's on the receiving end. How do you affix a value to that to call it a hezek?
Right. Well, I'm saying let's take the priestess away out of it. Yeah, let's say stam. I'm saying, you know what? You know where this comes in. Are you allowed to take a video of David? We're discussing it. Can you take a picture of somebody and publish it on the internet without permission? Can you record a shear?
Like
Can-
it's done with you every day?
Pretty much.
Okay.
I don't
I'm
know.
just-
I never signed a contract that it says, like, by the way, in a baseball ticket, it
Well,
says.
you never made a macha either.
Well, that's true.
Uh,
That's true. Very good.
He did make him. He tells us.
That's not a macha. You got to make a macha
No,
to the
that's
guy,
a
right? You have to
machlokes.
make
No, that's a machlokes.
That's a
Chaver
machlokes.
Like, don't remember the
Yeah,
song of the
chaver
month
chaver.
of it.
So Wartelski has to come back to reality over here, and then maybe we'll say something to him. But up in the mountains,
Yeah.
I'm not saying something to him when he's in the mountains.
That's
It's only
true.
machlokes with two.
To
With
who?
more than two, everyone holds chaver.
The owner of the camp sends the picture of puts Rabbi Stein on the chat on the Maminim chat every day of
And what
him
about-
answering shilas.
What about us?
Matziv.com? What about
What about
Matziv.com?
us?
What do you mean? What about us?
He has pictures of us too.
No, because you're not sitting
No.
in the chair in the camp.
Oh, it's just
No,
Facebook.
David, you made it to that last video. You, I think, got in on this on
Yes,
the last
my
second.
face got into the one. Yes.
There you go. So
And what about Matziv.com taking your halacha sheets?
that's true. That's a copyright thing. We're talking about stam. Can I take? I'm walking by a guy in the street. Can I take a picture and send it out?
I mean, in today's day, everybody does things like that. They're all taking pictures of everything and posting them.
Yeah, but is that right? So I think the poskim say it's mutter. Is that a hezekriya? I don't know. Yeah. So I don't know, but whatever it is, but that's the shiloh. Whether that's
If
considered enough of damage.
if I was in the pool and I saw Makil Cutler go in the pool and I take a picture and post it, that's not a Hezekiah?
Is it? You're not going to win the Tzaddik of the Year award. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
of course
But
not. So why isn't that
but-
Hezek? Why isn't it Hezekiah?
I don't know, but I'm not so sure. It's a grumma. It's a good. You
I
always
think
have
he would
grumma to
win the
rely on.
Tzaddik of the Year award.
Okay,
I don't know. I don't know if it's usher. I'm not so sure it's usher. I'm not so sure it's usher. That's whatever.
The reason it should be
But
mutter
anyway.
is if he's doing it in public, then you're not making it any more public than it already was.
It's not in public. It's a guy's backyard, and I caught a picture. What do you mean?
Well, the shiloh is in private, right? That's a shiloh. I don't know. Anyways, I think that we paskin that it's mutter to record a shir. I think, or take pictures of somebody. I think so, but I don't know. Anyway, so that's a machlokes whether it has a or not. That's what we thought. So the Gemara says like the kuli amash may hezek. Everybody holds hezek is a hezek. Shani hacha here is different. It says to him tashmishte loichazi. This little bit of a tefach worth of thing, you can't use it. What are you using it for? Right? So lamai chazi, lamisla beimidi. I could use it as a hook. I can hang something on it. So madrana apoy, I'll turn away my face when I'm using it as a hook. I'm gonna dry my beef jerky. Yeah, I'll dry my beef jerky on it.
Hang the bed
Then I'll-
from yesterday. Hang the bed from yesterday.
Yeah, I can do that too. But he's gonna turn away his face when he hangs it. Vitalina Bain he'll hang it. So he says, why you can't make a macha on him. That's the Rabbi Yehuda holds. You can't make a macha because that's what the guy in the upper floor is gonna say. I'm using it as a hook. Beidach and the other shita. Amarle zimnin de beisas. No, sometimes when you're standing out there hanging your bed or hanging your beef jerky, whatever you're hanging on there, you're gonna get scared, and then you're gonna look down, and then you're gonna see me in my gotchkas, whatever it is. Right. So therefore, that's the chashash. So everybody some holds this as a kriya. It's just a matter of whether we're choshed that there might be a situation where there's going to be a problem, where he may just lose himself and end up looking. Okay, weiter. Next Mishnah. Lo yiftach adam chaloy nesav lachatzer hashutfin. A person cannot open his windows into a chatzer shut, meaning you have a yard that you share with people. You are not allowed to. It literally means open window. Means you can't make a window into the yard, because again you'll be a peeping tom. Lokav bias b'chatzer acher. Then that's one subject. Next subject. Lokav bias b'chatzer acher. Somebody buys a house in a different
He can't
chatzer.
make a window, or he can't open his window.
What?
It's making a window, or it's opening an existing window.
Either way, I understood it to make it to.
That means he has the windows already.
No, I thought he meant to make a hole to open up.
No,
Or I mean, or if he has shades and he can't open his shades, let's say, I don't know. It's either one. No.
Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways, either way, he's not allowed to make it that he could look into his neighbor's yard, even when he's a shutuf, which the Gemara is going to say. This case is if he takes lokav bais v'chatzar cheret. Let's say you have your house opens up to one chutzner in the front and a different chutzner in the back. So can you go open the door to go out to the back chutzner, which means you're increasing the traffic in the back chutzner. So lokav bais v'chatzar acheres lo yiftachena b'chatzar hashutfin. You cannot open into a chutzner of the shutfin. Why? Because you're going to be increasing traffic, right? Bona ali al gabi base. Let's say a guy decides to open up a second floor in his house. Then you cannot open it into a chatzar hashutfin. Meaning you can't, if you built on another floor, you cannot let that door open up into the chatzar of the shutfin, because again you're increasing traffic. Elim ratza, but if you want, you can build a room inside your house. Or you can build an aliyah, second floor on your house. Or and you can let it open into your house, which we're going to see tomorrow's daf exactly what's going on there. What do you mean? You're still increasing the traffic, right? It's saying that you have the guy come from the other side. You can't open the door straight into the chutzner, but you can make an addition to your house. As long as they walk through your house, you're okay, right? But okay, we'll see in the Gemara what exactly is the difference. So let's see the Gemara. My area, so the Gemara says, my area, from the Mishnah, it's mashma. You're not allowed to open up a window overlooking your partner's yard, right? Even to the chutz of your friend, you also can't. Why are you saying dafka shutfin? So the Gemara says, let me buy a kamar. The Mishnah is saying, I don't have to teach you a din. Meaning it doesn't have to say this din, it's even this din. Let me buy l'chatzer chaveiroi deloi. Of course, it goes without saying that the chotzer chaveira avadi not allowed to open a window. But the partners, the amalei saif hakabayis it's through minay v'chatzer. When you're in the chotzer, we have a shared yard, so you always have to keep hidden from me if you want to be private. Meaning, so then why can't I look out the window? Either way, if you want to do something in the yard, you have a shared swimming pool. Imagine a guy tells this fellow, we have a shared swimming pool. And you can't go, I'm afraid you're going to go look at me. He says, I don't understand. I can come invade the pool whenever I want. So why shouldn't I be able to have a window overlooking? So when I knew you were in the chutzner, so I knew I had to hide from you. But even when you're in the house, I have to now hide from you. Because how do I know that you're not looking at me from the roof? So that's the chiddush. So it goes, again, the Gemara is saying it goes without saying that if it's a neighbor's yard, you're not allowed to do it. But even your partner's yard, there's still an additional lack of privacy by opening a window. Fine. And the guy opened his windows to a chutzner of partners. You made a chazaka on it, and you're good. Right? Upa lefnei Reb Chia. Then they came in front of Reb Chia, which means that they went. I guess they were heter shopping, or one side went to their Rav, like the classic in Choshen Mishpat. One side went to their Rav, and the other side went to their Rav. Right? So Amalei Ichzakta b'ni Ichzakta. Upa lefnei Reb Chia. They came in front of Reb Chia. Amar Yagata upasachta. You did work, and you opened the window. Right? Yaga ustaim. Now do your work and close it. So clearly he went l'chumra. All right, fine. So then the Gemara says, Amar Rav Nachman, the list time la'alter. If somebody he closes up the window right away, meaning if a guy opens the window, then you know what the neighbor does? He builds a fence right in front of the window. But if he does that la'alter habi chazaka, if he does it right away, it's a chazaka, and because the owner of the window should have been made a macha immediately, and if he didn't, so then that's it. He loses it. Nobody is going to allow somebody to build walls in front of his window and block out his light and not immediately make a macha. And if the guy didn't, then he loses his chazaka. Fine. Last case. So it said if you buy a chutz, if you bought a house that borders a different chutzah, you cannot now open, and until you bought the house, the front door of the chutzah was into to the front. You only were allowed to go out through the front. Now you want to open a door that allows you to go out to the back through a different group's chutzah. So we're saying you're not allowed to do that. My time, and what's the reason? You're being marba on them the derech, meaning you're making a lot more traffic in the previous chutzah, right? Right. Imagine Rabban, right on Rose Street. If you live in a dead end, so all of a sudden somebody buys a house and opens it to the whole Rabbin, then it's going to really increase the traffic. So we're saying you're not allowed to do that, right? So then the Gemara says Aim Seifa. So then what about the Seifa? So you can build another room in your house, or build another floor in your house. So there we said you're allowed to. You're allowed to, as long as they come out through your house, you're allowed to. So how could that be? Rav Huna, my cheder. What does it mean a cheder? It doesn't mean that you're adding a room to the house. It's shechalku b'shnayim. You're taking a room and you're building a wall in between, and now you have two bedrooms instead of one, sort of like everybody does in the country with their bungalows. Right? You just put up a little wall, and that's now considered two bedrooms. Umay aliyah. What's aliyah? Aftoi. Aliyah is like a low ceiling, meaning you ever see these temporary hotels they have now in airports, like a sleeping pod? You just slide yourself in there and you can go to sleep. They have them in cities too. I never saw them. I saw pictures of them. So that's what he did here. He didn't basically, they didn't do anything to the existing structure. They just internally, they made more space. So if that's the case, that's not considered causing stress on to the people in the chutzah, which basically to me comes out, the way I understand it, I don't know if I'm correct, is that you're allowed to stuff as many people into a house as you want, like the Mexicans. This comes up. Somebody, it happened in near Darche, a guy rented his house to Mexicans instead of Yidden. They couldn't rent it to Yidden for the right price. Mexicans play a lot more. They put in 4 families, right? So is that allowed or not? From this Gemara's mashma, as long as you don't mess with the structure, then it's okay. You can't stop him. But again, I don't know if that my understanding of the halacha l'maisa that is correct. But yeah, okay, we'll stop there. Everybody should have a good Shabbos. We'll say a till.